Hey guys, thanks so much for joining today. Of course, we got my co-host Brian the Beast Robinson here, and a very special, exciting guest. I know a lot of you guys been waiting to see him on the channel. Todd Senofante, John Claude Van Damme's stunt double.
What is up?
Yes.
And we got to get the whole story, Todd, because you've been kind of telling me, and you just told Brian the story is going to knock our socks off on how you ended up becoming his stunt double. Everything related to that.
Well, you guys got your popcorn ready
Always.
with extra butter?
Hopefully, the audience at
We'll
home
watch
does.
the cholesterol, brother.
For your audience, I told Brian and David, if my story doesn't knock your socks off, I'm going to buy you some free beers. So we'll get into it. And if you
For
hear my
sure.
dogs barking, my dogs
Adds
are
to the
outside.
ambiance, brother. This is real life.
We're live. All right, so guys, back in 1991, I graduated basic training. I was in the military for 6 years. And the night before we graduated, the drill sergeants rolled in this TV with a VCR, popped in a movie, and the drill sergeant said, enjoy, gentlemen. So we started the movie, watching the movie, and it was Kickboxer.
Okay.
So we're watching it, 10 minutes, 15 minutes into the movie. The guy's just looking at me. What are you looking at me for? Man, you look like that guy. I said, who is it? Oh, that's Jean Claude Van Damme. So we start watching. Movie ends. Ah, that was pretty cool. Yeah, I can see the little resemblance. I graduated basic training. At the time, I was in Dunmore, Pennsylvania. I say Scranton, Pennsylvania because Scranton's on the map, Northeast
Mm.
Pennsylvania. So I go back to Scranton, Pennsylvania, and I'm staying with my mom and dad. So I went to uh, Bloomsburg University. I was going to be a teacher. I was going to stay in school. I was going to be a coach, live a normal life.
You don't mind me asking real quick, what branch?
Army National Guard.
Army. Okay, gotcha.
So I graduated basic training. And then one day, me and my buddies went to this place called Murray's in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. It's like an outdoor patio type of bar. We walked in, and I see Ray Hollett, one of the original American Gladiators. She's from Pennsylvania. I walked over. Hey, Ray. Hey, Todd Senofante. Nice to meet you. She goes, I thought you were Jean Claude Van Damme when you walked in. I said, Ray, so many people have been telling me that. She goes, before you leave, come see me. So about an hour, so it starts raining. My buddies go, let's get out of here. I said, hold on, I gotta go find Ray. Ooh, there she is. I walked over. Hey, Ray, we're taking off. She goes, Todd, let's meet next week. I really want to talk to you. Write up a bio. I really want to talk to you about this. I said, all right. So we meet the following week for lunch. I had the lobster bisque. So we just started talking, and that was a joke. Lobster bisque. Hello?
Yeah.
Seinfeld. All right. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I
So
got this. I was thinking Seinfeld when you said it, the bits, but
anyway, okay. So I said, Ray, what do you recommend I do? She goes, why don't you start taking some pictures? Try to local modeling job. One day I was sitting at my mom and dad's table, and I got the paper out, and it said local model actor needed. I called up. I said, hey, I was just wondering if you can. Yeah, come on down. I go down, and it's for this brochure. It's for like a home appliance, stoves, microwaves. They give you a shirt that says Joe with a long screwdriver. Okay, go over to that stove and tighten the screw. All right, tighten the screw. Okay, look at the camera. Look at the camera. Okay, now go to the refrigerator. Camera. The guy taking a picture goes, you know who you look like? I go, Eddie Murphy? No, you look like Jean Claude Van Damme. We finished a little shoot. The guy reaches in his pocket, pulls out a business card. He goes, here, see what you can do with it. I look at it. ICM, Jack Gilardi's office, Beverly Hills. Now we're in Scranton, Pennsylvania. I'm like, all right, cool, thank you. Put my back in my shirt. We finish. I go back, and a couple, 2, 3 days later, I find the card. I'm eating Cocoa Puffs at my mom and dad's house. What the heck? I called my cousin up, Gigi. She's a photographer. I said, Gigi, can you take some pictures of me doing the kicks and the splits? Yeah, come on down. So we go down, take the pictures. I get the pictures back. I get the address. I FedExed them from Scranton, Pennsylvania to Beverly Hills, not thinking anything of it. Couple, 2, 3 days later, my mom says, "Hey, you got a message. 310. Where's 310? That's California." So I called the number. I said, "Hey, Todd Senofante, returning your call. Hey, Todd, we received your packet. You look great. Mr. Van Damme is out of the country, but we're gonna make sure he sees these." I'm like, "Okay, thanks." Hung the phone up. I'm like, calling my buddies. Hey, guess what? Guess what? So I waited a couple more weeks. Didn't hear anything. I sent more pictures. Waited 2 more weeks. Sent more pictures. Then I finally called.
Oh, hang on, guys. I'm sorry. I lost the connection. 1 second, because I got to the point, kind of move closer to the router. I got to the point where you were going to FedEx this package, but I do want to make one comment real quick. It's funny that everyone kept saying, well, obviously when you were watching with your army dudes, you guys were literally watching the movie, but other people outside of that was just saying, hey, you know who you remind me of? You know who you remind me of? It just kind of lets you know how big of a deal and how popular Van Damme was starting to be, because this was Kickboxer, I believe he said, in 1991. And I remember as a kid, like, I didn't know anything about Jean-Claude Van Damme. I was living on an army base because I'm an army brat. And my dad's friend that lived a couple houses down was talking to my dad, like, hey, there's this new guy. His name's Jean-Claude Van Damme. And he's like this European karate champion master guy. And he's got this new movie called Kickboxer. And I guess it was like on HBO at the time. And he's like, you got to watch it at my house. So I even like heard the name, you know, even back then. So he was starting to become like a big deal, just popularity wise.
Yeah. Do I have to start all over?
No. You got to start. So you took these cool ass pictures of you doing the splits and the kicks.
So they FedExed them. I called them up and they said, yeah, great. We're gonna keep in touch. Called my buddies. Waited a few more weeks. Nothing. Sent more. Couple more weeks. Sent nothing. Then I finally called them. I said, hey, you know, Todd Senofante, just checking in with you. Hey, Todd, we're glad you called. Jean-Claude is doing a film in Pittsburgh called Sudden Death. Now, we're not going to guarantee you anything, but you never know. I'm like, oh, okay. I packed my little Subaru up and I drove 5 hours west to Pittsburgh. I didn't know where I was going to stay. I didn't care. Park. I walk up to the production office, walk into the production office, and there's a girl at the desk writing something down. She looks at me. Hey, Mr. Van Damme, you're here. I'm like, no, I'm just Todd. I'm here for the possible stand-in photo double. Oh, well, have a seat. So I sit down. The second AD, second assistant director. I like to clarify something. Maybe some of your viewers don't know the proper lingo, so I'll try to just explain it to them in detail. A second AD is a second assistant director. Then there's a first AD, first assistant director. Then there's a director. So the second AD comes in and says, Todd, any chance you could come back next week to meet the director? I'm like, let me see. Check my Rolodex. Yeah. I go back to Scranton, come back the next week. Same thing, Clark, production. Second AD comes out and he goes, hey, Todd, did you meet JC yet? I'm like, no. He goes, come with me. So we're walking down the hallway and I see him in the distance. He's got his robe on, looking at his wardrobe. And the second AD goes, hey, JC, this is Todd. He's going to be your new stand-in. Jean-Claude walks over and he goes, whoa, great double. Where'd you find this guy? I'm like, hey, Jean-Claude, pleasure to meet you. Big fan. He goes, great. We'll see you on set. So that was initially my job. I was hired as just his stand-in. Mm-hmm. And again, there's a stand-in, there's a photo double, and a stunt double. 3 different jobs. It's going to come into play after one of these stories I tell you, because it's a very sensitive topic. Mm-hmm. So my job was to come in before the actor, Jean-Claude, comes in. Now, stand-in is an actor that comes in before the actor or the actress comes on the set. A stand-in gets the lighting and the camera angle. So I would come on the set, and the director of photographer would say, okay, Todd, sit there for a second, look this way, get up and walk. So that's what I would do. I would get the lighting, get the camera angle. Jean-Claude would come on the set. I go, okay, Jean-Claude, you got to sit here, look that way, get up and walk. So specifically, that was my job as a stand-in.
Mhm.
And then eventually I got to do photo double. But there was one time where we're in the Civic Arena. Now I'm in Pittsburgh. I'm a Steelers fan, Penguins fan. I was in heaven because it was during the hockey strike. So the Civic Arena was shut down. So there's a scene where there's a crowd of people, and Jean-Claude is on the second level. And the director photographer said, "Okay, Todd, stand here, look over, look this way." And there's about 250 people, a lot of a lot of girls. From behind, I hear a voice say, "Hey, which one do you like?" Turn to Jean-Claude. "Oh, the girl in the green's pretty hot." He goes, "Yeah, but you got to be careful these days." I said, "Yeah, I know. I was in a really long relationship and we broke up." He goes, "Really?" He goes, "Stay here." He does a scene. He comes back up the steps. He goes, "Come with me." We go up to the top level and we're sitting down. And he goes, "So, tell me, what happened?" I was like, "Well, I had this opportunity. And she wanted to get married. I took the opportunity." He goes, "Relationships in this business is hard. They work, but it's very difficult." I said, "Yeah, I know." So then we just started talking about training, working, eating, and the little uh, a girl comes up, a PA girl comes up and says, "Okay, Todd, they're ready for you." I look at Jean-Claude, I look at the girl, I said, "Hey, I'm talking to Jean-Claude here." She goes, "Ooh." I said, "No, I'm joking. I'm joking." He laughs. He goes, "Okay, we'll see you later." So that was our first bonding moment
Mhm.
on sudden death. So as the movie progressed, um, like I said, just the stand-in work, and then we're at here's where the sensitive issue of a photo double and a stunt double comes in. I started doing the photo doubling where they do the inserts of the actor's hands running away from the camera. It's all about saving time and money. When they don't really need an actor or an actress on the set, they'll use a double.
Sure.
So that's pretty much what I was doing. Stand in, then I got to do some of the photo doubling. We had this night off, this day off. So that night we went to this place, I believe it was called Donzi's or Chauncey's in Pittsburgh. And we're there, hanging out, a couple of crew members, and the DJ goes goes over the mic and he goes, "And everybody, I guess you've heard we're doing a film in Pittsburgh called Sudden Death, starring Jean-Claude Van Damme, and we have this stunt double here, Todd Senofante." I'm like, "Oh my god!" I ran over to the guy. He goes, "Dude," he goes, "I'm just his photo double. I'm not his stunt double." Oh, okay. Mark Stefanich, Jean-Claude's original stunt double, ex Navy SEAL. David liked this guy, ex Navy SEAL. He was there. He sees me. He grabs me. He goes, "Hey, I don't appreciate you taking my credit." I go, "Mark, on a stack of Bibles, I say stunt double. Some of these people don't know the difference." He goes, "All right, man. I believe you. I believe you." So the next morning, I went over to the stunt coordinator. I said, "I'm sure you heard what happened." He goes, I heard. He goes, "Your time is going to come." I go, "Any chance I can do so?" He goes, "Just do your job. Your time is going to come." So I did more of the photo doubling. So throughout Sudden Death, um, I coming towards the end of the film, I didn't know if this is going to be, the only project I've ever done with him.
Mhm.
So I'm thinking. 2 days before the um, end of the shoot, I just walk over to Jean Claude. I said, "Jean Claude," I said, "Any chance you need me for the quest?" He goes, "Okay, go over to the producer, give him your information." Now back then, '94, you had to write stuff down. There was
Mhm.
no tweeting or Instagram and all that. So I wrote my information down, went over to the producer. I said, "Jean Claude said if you need me." Okay, great. They get the information. Um, so we finish Sudden Death. I go back to my mom and dad. A month and a half later, I get a call from the first AD, Jack Frost Sanders, first AD. He goes, "Hey, Todd, we're just checking to see if you're available for the quest." I'm like, "Hey, let me check my schedule here." "Yeah." Um, he goes, "Okay, don't shave, don't cut your hair. we need your hair long and a beard. I said, okay. So my first time overseas, we go to Thailand. So
Mhm.
it was like nothing beats walking onto the set of Sudden Death. I mean, it was like a $35 million budget, but once I walked onto that set and it just hit me, I was like, ah, man, big lights, cameras. I'm like, I belong here. So the quest comes. Same thing. Stand in,
Mhm.
photo double. Mark Stefanich was still the guy doing the stunts. Um, and the fighters on this film, silly question. Everybody's seen the quest, but all those fighters, man, they were so, legitimate and just down to earth. We would have a night off. We would walk through the villages of Thailand, and we had a chaperone saying, "Okay, that's a guy. Okay, that's a girl. Uh, don't go down that alley. Don't go down that
Yeah,
alley.
you gotta be
That's
careful
okay.
in Thailand. One thing I want to point out, guys, in the audience. So yeah, there were a lot of amazing fighters in the quest, and you could look in my channel. I did a video, a multi-part video breaking down like every single fighter that was in that film and gave their background, their history, and everything else. So definitely check that out, guys. But yeah, that's
Yeah,
cool. You got to hang out with all of them.
and of course Roger Moore.
Oh, sure.
Roger Moore, Jack McGee, Janet Gunn. One time on set, we all had lunch outside, and this is the character of Roger Moore. I mean, legend, Sir Roger Moore. Sir Roger Moore. He carries like a water pitcher to each of us at the table. Sir, would you like some water? I'm looking. Oh, sure, thank you. Roger Moore pouring us water, walking around the table. I mean, and he has a presence where he enters a room. There's a lot of actors that enter a room and they're there, and he had that presence. Jack McGee, James Remar, Janet Gunn, so many great actors and actresses, I got to work with. So same thing, just the photo doubling, standing in,
Mhm.
and again, comes to the end of the quest. I'm like, man, am I ever gonna work with him? Walk over to Jean Claude. Hey, Jean Claude, you need me for maximum risk? Okay, go give him. Same thing. If I'm information producer. Okay, okay. I go back to Pennsylvania. Now I'm doing all this while I'm still living in Pennsylvania. I moved
Mhm.
to California in 1999. So again, I get the call, a couple, 2, 3 months later. Hey, Todd, uh, Maximum Risk, are you available? Yeah. Now, Maximum Risk, my third film. This is where I got my SAG card because there was a scene where in France, and I'm sitting behind the camera, and I see Charlie Pacerni pacing back and forth, the stunt coordinator. He's doing this. Look, he's scratching his head. He's looking at and he sees me. He goes, "Hey, Todd, you want to do this? Oh, what is it? We're gonna harness you on the hood of a car and crash all through these tables and chairs." Yes. So that was my first stunt, and that's how I got my SAG card. I was an automatic, join the SAG card after you're doing your first stunt. Because I know these days, back then, it was kind of expensive to join SAG. You'd have to do a commercial, have like 3 or 4 lines in a film. But I got mine doing my first stunt. So I
What
was,
happened to the other guy?
well, he was on the other unit
Oh, okay. So
doing
he was
some
working on
scenes.
something
So
else.
yeah, Mark was on, I think it was first unit doing a scene, and he didn't have time to come back. So I was blessed that
Yeah,
he
it
was
worked out for you.
delayed. Yeah. So yeah. So Maximum Risk, Natasha Anstridge, Species.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
She was incredible. And I got to I got to do a kissing scene with her. There's a scene where he goes into the elevator. We pull up and then her back shot of my head onto her, and we lean in and we kissed, and she enjoyed herself. I tell you what.
Well,
So
I'm surprised you did that scene. That's crazy. I just
it was
very
again.
you
It
did
was a
that.
scene. It was a scene where again he wasn't needed. The
Yeah,
back of the
sure.
head. Yeah, it was her close up.
Okay.
And I kept saying, I think we should do a retake. I think the lighting was off. Can we do that again?
Yeah.
But she was just
Very selfless of you, brother. Very
well, you know, I'm a team player. You
For
know what
the
I'm saying?
film, man, for the betterment of the
Hey,
film.
you got
take one for the team. You had to do it,
yeah.
bro.
So maximum risk. That was probably. I mean, nothing beats sudden death. That's probably on the top for me because my first film experiencing, and I tell all these young actors and actresses the best acting class you can take is to be on set because
Mhm.
you hear the lingo. You can listen to the director. You know what camera right means. You know what camera left means, and it's so important for young actors and actresses to do background work just to be on set and to learn. Because every time I would rap, I would just stay. I would watch Peter Hyams, great director for Sudden Death. I would just sit back, learn, watch the stunt guys, do this, do that, talk to all the actors, actresses, the crew. For me, it becomes like a family.
Yeah.
And I make it a point to meet everybody just to hear their stories. Yeah, they want to hear my story, but I'm more interested in hearing them, how they started, where they shot, the locations. And again, traveling with Jean Claude, you cannot put a price tag on it, because Hong Kong, Rome, Thailand, Morocco, China, Bulgaria, all these films, places where I would never have thought about going.
Mhm.
But when it's on somebody's dime, hey, it's worth $1 million.
Sure.
So maximum risk, that one ends, and now it's to a point where okay, they kind of know me now. I'd go to Jean Claude. Hey, Jean Claude, yeah, double team. Uh, we got your information. So now, at that time, the story I heard was that one of the producers and Mark, the original stunt double, kind of knocked heads.
Mm,
So I guess he went a separate way. So I was kind of like I was brought in now to do a lot of the action.
sure.
Still doing the stand-in, still doing the photo dubbing, and now more of the action. So now Double Team comes along in France. Dennis Rodman, Mickey Rourke,
Mhm.
again, all these guys you see on TV. Now you're standing right next to him. Mickey Rourke he's a legend. Personable. We started talking about everything, just like I did with Jean Claude. Dennis Rodman, I said, hey Dennis, if you want me to teach you how to throw some free throws, in, let me know. Oh yeah, you're funny. Stuff like that. When the camera's not on these guys, they're just like us. Normal guys. So then um, double team ends, uh, and then we go to knockoff Hong Kong. Sammo Hung. I'm like, legend, right, David? Sammo.
Oh, big time. Well, I got to ask you this, Todd. So now you're like fully in on the stunts, starting with Double Team after you had that nice scene in Maximum Risk. Did you have to like go
No,
to some
I got
run?
to get back to you on the double team.
Oh yeah, let's go more
That,
Double Team.
that that was the big tiger scene,
Yeah,
the tiger chase.
yeah.
And I remember about 5 minutes before we shot that scene, I asked the producer, I say, can I use your phone? I just want to call my mom. Say hi. Sure. I call my mom. Hey, mom. Yeah, yeah, we're doing the tiger scene now. Oh, really? Is it? Is it? Oh, it's so nice. I'm petting it. It's very gentle. It's gonna be nice. Okay. Bye bye. I love you. Just in case.
Oh sure, yeah.
And the thing about the tigers are, you know, the trainer had to come in. Randy Miller, one of the best wranglers out there. He would come on the set. He would guide the tiger where to go. Because I had to run through the arena and then up the steps. So he would have the tiger run through the arena, up the steps, and then when it was time, they put me in there. Now the tiger had something to run at.
Hmm.
So I remember there's one scene where I was right next to the tiger was in the cage. I was right next to the cage, and I'm standing next to the tiger. And Charlie Pacherny, the stunt coordinator, goes, "Hey Todd, try to get the tiger riled up a little bit." I'm like, "What do you want to do?" So I went to the cage, and I was like, "Ah, like this," and the roar, the fangs were like that big. I'm, you happy about that? So when they said action, obviously I'd get a head start. I would start running, and then all I would hear is that cage open up, and then So I was running, and then I had to run around a corner and then around another corner. But around the second corner, I had to pull a cage in front of me. So I pulled the cage in front of me, and the tiger would jump on the cage. It'd be propped up like this, and I'm like, shaking the cage, let it go, and then I would run. I had my own cage to dive into with a stunt guy had a big stick. So I would jump into the cage. They would close it with the big stick, and then the wrangler guided the tiger into his own cage. They closed the cage, and there was a couple times where I slipped and my heart went right up to my throat. I'm like, oh my god. And one time you hear over the mic, Tiger is loose. Everybody in the wagon. Tiger is loose. Everybody in the wagon. The whole crew's jumping their wagons. We're looking through the shades. Okay, Tiger's clear. Tiger's clear. So the tiger's chase for me was probably the most dangerous and the craziest stunt I've ever done. And then, like I said, after that we did knockoff. But did you ever?
Oh, yeah. I was going to ask Todd. So, starting with Maximum Risk, where you had that cool stunt, and then All In on Double Team, and then Knockoff. So, did you just learn all these stunts like on set, or did they send you to like some stunt academy school?
I learned as I went. Like I said, the best class you can take, whether it's acting or stunts, is to be on set, learning from the guys, asking questions. So with my military training, my athletic background, I mean, it fell into place, and it just worked. And if I had a question, I would go over to the coordinator. I was like, okay, how do they do that? Okay, I understand now. That's why I absorbed as much as I can, being on set, because again, this business, you never know. You can be working, months straight, and then all of a sudden it just, dies out. So I just try to make the most of it, met as many people as I can, kept in touch with as many people as I can. Um, so again, after Double Team, we go to Hong Kong, knockoff. Um, Sammo Hung, all of his stunt guys were incredible. I actually got to meet Jackie Chan on Double Team. Um, and it was one time I had my camera because, we had those disposable cameras at the time.
Sure.
But it was just so cool meeting him. Again, he's got that presence of when you enter a room, he's there. So knockoff was another very difficult shoot as far as the action. Those rickshaws that we had to pull. Rob Schneider, great guy. I mean, we kept in touch after the film. Layla Rashan, Paul Sorvino, rest in peace. He's actually good friends with my family in Scranton. But Paul Sorvino is another guy. I've met so many of these actors that are just so bigger than life, and then when you're sitting and talking to them, they're like, wow, they're so down to earth. But those rickshaws, there was one time we had to run down this alley, and we had to turn. I would slip and big scrapes on the legs, running down the steps where we had to actually turn the rickshaw around, and it was dragging me down the steps like this. So it was tricky. And then there's a boat scene when Jean Claude gets into the little speedboat, and we're driving the speedboat, and we have to come in between these two big barges with a tow line. So I had to drive the boat as it's going, and then get up on the seat, and then jump off and hook on. But the second time I was driving, and I got up and the boat stalls. Now there's a guy in the front of the boat in a compartment with a walkie-talkie, and I was like, the boat stalled, and he comes out, and the big barge crashes into our little boat. It pushes us. So that was another scary moment.
Oh, sure.
But the finished product is incredible. But being in Hong Kong is probably one of the safest places back then to walk around. I'd walk around at 3 in the morning, just the streets of Hong Kong. I got my one tattoo. I was so bored. We had like a couple weeks off. I'm walking around. Hey, I walk into this tattoo parlor, and I get a barbed wire around my ankle. And the tattoo artist, he actually had a pen, and he drew the whole thing around. it came out so perfectly. I'm like, wow. You know, these days you put the stencil around or something like that, but so talented out there. Knockoff, let's see, something bad, the quest, knock, and then after that, that was '97.
Mhm.
Um, and then 90. Let's see, what's after that? Legionnaire, I believe it's Legionnaire. Um,
Yeah, let me see. Knockoff.
yeah,
Was that the one he did right after Knockoff?
it was 90. Yeah, Legionnaire was 99, and then
Oh yeah,
98.
that's the
Yeah,
one that I think Sheldon Lettich wrote that script, didn't he?
Legionnaire. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
Okay.
go to Morocco again. All of these places I've never ever thought I would go. And Legionnaire, I think Legionnaire was one of his best films.
It's
That should
underrated, man. Yeah.
have been theatrically released.
It was
Um,
supposed to be actually.
yeah, but it's a really good film. So then that was the time where I was still in Pennsylvania, and I make the move in '99 to come to California. And my first 2 weeks in California, I didn't have a car. I stayed with a couple friends, and I'm in Woodland Hills, California at the time.
Mhm.
I go to this mall. I'm walking around. Remember those stores, Sharper Image,
Yeah, sure.
where they have those massage chairs?
Mhm.
So I'm sitting in the massage chair, and this girl runs into her mom and dad. Jean-Claude Van Damme is out there. And I'm like, I get up, and there's Jean-Claude, Gladys, Christopher, Bianca, in the middle of the mall. I walk over to, hey, Jean-Claude. He goes, hey, Toddy, I'm gonna need you to come with me to finish up Universal Soldier: The Return.
Mhm.
We'll send you all the information. Like, all right, cool. So 2 weeks in California, hey, I got my first job because I thought it was gonna be cake because I did so many so many films. I did fitness magazines, Muscle Fitness, Muscle Mag, Men's Fitness. So I thought it was going to be easy, but it's not. It's all timing and luck,
Oh,
like my
sure. Yeah.
like my
I got to
story.
ask you a quick question though. Are you Dutch? I believe he's Dutch, right? Is
He's
Jean Claude
Belgian.
Belgium.
Belgium? Sorry, might
Yeah.
get mad. I don't know how they feel about each other. But are you Belgium? Like, is there
No,
maybe some?
no, I'm Italian.
Wow. And you
Yeah,
guys look alike, man. Totally
yeah.
different genetic streams. But
My another funny thing happened on Maximum Risk. My mom and dad came to visit us in Toronto, and his mom and dad came to visit. So my dad, he's got the best. I get my sense of humor from my dad. He's got a dry sense of humor. My dad walks over to Eugene, his dad, and he goes, "Hey, you happen to be in Pennsylvania, maybe 20 years ago?" Because we look so much alike. And he was like, "Oh no, 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 they look so much alike." Um, and then one time in little details I want to throw out in Morocco, way in the Sahara Desert on Legionnaire. So I'm sitting in the chair, and Jean Claude's mom comes behind me, and oh honey, how are you today? I look over. Oh hello. Oh, I thought you were Jean Claude. Oh no, he's over there. So a little.
Yeah, you know
So
what's cool though, Todd? You know what's cool? So not only do you like look like him, but just coincidentally, you already had that martial arts background where you could do the splits, you could do his fancy kicks, you could do all that stuff.
I,
So,
I even took ballet before I knew of Jean Claude.
oh really? Wow.
Way back in high
Okay.
school. For the stretching,
Sure.
stretching and
yeah, a lot of
flexibility.
people don't give the accolades to ballet. Ballets, and they throw them legs up and stuff,
Oh
man.
yeah,
That's
and
ridiculous.
I would always stretch out, warm up even before I go swimming. Just so I don't pull any muscles and
Sure.
everything. Because I mean, swimming is probably the best cardio you can do because it just everything. It works everything.
Yeah.
Um, so the so then after Legionnaire, I moved here. I go to Dallas, Texas, to do the actual end scene with Michael Jai White.
Hmm.
And Michael Jai White, man, I he's incredible. Another guy that is so down to earth, talking. So many similarities to him and Jean Claude. His kick is incredible. He's got the most perfect sidekick in Universal Soldier. That kick he does, man, it was like so perfect. That technique. So then there was one scene where in the fight, when the gun is kicked out of the hands and it flips into the air, and we're trying to, the coordinator was like, how are we going to do this? How are we going to do this? So me and Michael Jai were sitting back watching the coordinator discuss all these things. All they did was get a plywood with some um, rope dangling with a gun and just flip it up. And I go to Michael, like, "Hey, we could have done that ourselves." And we just started laughing. But that scene, that fight scene was really done well with the lighting and the effects. And then I had to run across the tables, and then we spin around, and then they bring Jean Claude in, to do the kick. So after Universal Soldier, again, that was '99. We kind of lost contact. So when that happened, I got to do some of the fitness magazines. Like I said, I was doing uh, Muscle and Fitness, Muscle Mag, because I was really, I was in great shape, and I tried to keep it up. And again, with Jean Claude, he's like the perfect motivator because he loves, working out, training, and so that was like a big motivation just to be around him. Again, he has that aura. You walk in, he walked into the room. So we lost. Then I started to do, get the Backstage West. It was Backstage West paper. I would start getting, jobs that again don't pay, but I needed footage.
Mm-hmm.
And there's an ad I answered. It was called what's it called again? No, I'm blanking here. It was a little short film, A Reason to Live, and it was a dramatic scene. So I called the guy up. Yeah, we can use you. So we go to the Van Nuys Park one day. We shoot that scene. I get the footage, so I put that on my reel. And again, I'm gonna go back to all these actors and actresses starting out. Get footage. Make sure you have something to present because no one's gonna hire you. Just with a resume. So I made sure I answered. I did background work. I did, I was a background in a soap opera. I did background in other films, and then I started doing the sci-fi films with Fred Olin Ray, the director, Jim Wynorski. So I got to work with Casper Van Dien, Turbulent Skies, little parts, but I didn't care. Again, you just needed as much footage as you can to put on your reels. So then, about maybe 2005, the end of 2005, out of the blue, I get an email from the same producer that I kept giving my information to.
Sure.
Said, "Hey, we need you for um, Until Death
Okay.
in Bulgaria."
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, "Hey, let me check my schedule." So yeah, I went to Bulgaria, and Jean Claude had another guy there to do stunts, and I was brought in photo doubling and some action. Again, just to save time and money, because that's what the producers love. If you can help them save money, you're in. So Bulgaria, it was kind of like the first reconnected after those few years. So it was nice. We got to sit down, we got to talk, and then after that, there was, let's see, I think was it Swelter? Swelter. That really didn't get a good review. Swelter. It was kind of it was an out there film, but I just did the photo doubling for him.
Sure.
A couple of days photo doubling. But still, it was me just getting back into the, being on the set, meeting these people, rubbing elbows, connecting. And then again, there was a few years that went by that gave me the motivation to keep, doing my thing. So Swelter came, and then I think it was the next film, I believe, was Pound of Flesh.
Okay.
And that was, I got the call the week I got to meet Tony Jaa. Tony Jaa, I'm good friends with Michael Selby, Tony Jaa's manager. So Michael calls me and says, "Hey, we're going to be in town. Why don't you, come meet for breakfast?" So I meet Tony and Mike in Beverly Hills. Really cool guy. I love Tony. He's great. So a week after that, I get a call. Hey, please call Jean-Claude's office. So I called. I say, hey, Todd here. Hey, we need you in China. Are you available? Yeah. So, well, okay. When do you need me? I'm thinking next week, 2 weeks. Now we need you now. So in a matter of 3 days, I had to drive down to LA, get my visa, all the paperwork. Matter of 3 days, I'm on a plane heading to China. Pound of Flesh. Um, Ernie Barbarish, the director, another great director. I work with so many great directors, and Pound of Flesh had a really good story to it. And I thought, that was one of his better films, along with Legionnaire, Maximum Risk.
Sure.
And again, another reconnection there with Jean Claude. We hang out, we have breakfast in the morning, and then the night shoots we had were brutal. We would get picked up at like 4:30 p.m., work until 6 in the morning. There's a couple stories on Pound of Flesh I think your viewers would love that we'll never hear. There was one time where Jean Claude and I were leaving the set, and the sound guy had his headphones on, and we walked by the set, and the sound guy kept doing this, and I walked by. I said, "Hey, Eric, what are you doing?" He goes, "Man, I hear a cricket. Man, I hear the cricket. There's a cricket. I'm gonna go kill it." Jean Claude goes, "You're not gonna kill it, Toddy. Go get a cup." So I ran to the craft service. I get one of those college red cups. I go, "Okay, I got it." He goes, "Come on." we go into the set. He gets the cricket. He goes, "Okay, here, Toddy, go go release it." Okay. So I get the cricket. I release it into the grass. It's just it's just a situation where you you can't put a price tag on that because it's so memorable to me.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, I'm the same way. If I there's like a spider in the house and somebody wants me to kill it, I put it outside
Hey,
because I think
guy
it
doesn't.
deserves to live. Like I'll
Yeah.
put it outside. I don't want to kill it.
Well,
I could
Jean
I
Claude,
could
he's a
see
big.
I could understand where he's coming
He,
from, even if it's just a cricket.
he's a huge animal lover. I'm a huge animal lover. I've got dachshunds. He rescues dogs. So that was another similarity
Way
we
to
had
bond and
together.
connect for sure.
Bond and connect. Yeah. So another situation on Pound of Flesh in China, they gave us like vouchers every morning to go get breakfast. So when we wrap at 6:30, we're so tired. We go back to the hotel. He goes to his room. I go to my room. We shower and we meet downstairs. And they had this big buffet. So we're standing in line with our plates, and there's a guy in front of Jean Claude. I'm behind Jean Claude waiting, and there's a window. So the chef is behind the window, and he gets a spatula and he, reaches out, puts the eggs on people's plates, and then they go. So the guy and the guy, the guy in front of Jean Claude puts his plate out. The chef gets a spatula, puts the eggs in the guy's plate. The eggs slide off the guy's plate in a big bowl of vinegar, and the vinegar goes everywhere. And Jean Claude looks at me. I look at him. We just start laughing. Again, little things like that, that even his fans don't know. So now they know. Jean Claude is so down to earth. He's great sense of
Are you
humor.
still close to him? Do you guys still talk
Yeah,
a lot?
we connect. Every few weeks, maybe I'll send him a message. Hey, how you doing? I know he's overseas now, but yeah, we keep in touch. And then the last episode in Pound of Flesh, they had this tea. It's called Pui tea. It's like a, it's like a, I guess a diuretic or not diuretic. It makes you go.
Sure.
So,
That's
and
it,
we
yeah.
just have this little joke. So we were drinking the Pui tea, and then we get up because we were gonna go. He's gonna go to his room. I go to my room, take a nap because we get picked up, later on. So we're in the elevator. So I'm like, oh. He goes, "Hey, all right?" I go, "Well," and he goes, "Whack and all." And I just felt it as soon as those elevator doors opened. I ran to my room and I had a, hey. So that was
Well, it
so
was a
many.
laxative, right?
It
It was
was
a
Mhm.
it was a
okay,
leg.
I
Yeah,
get
it's
you.
called pooey.
Since usually having to pee that bad, it doesn't
I guess
happen.
I guess that's why it's called pooey tea,
Mm.
because it makes you go. So yeah, so I mean, Pound of Flesh, love the film. Leave for China, and then again, little time goes by. He did some films in between that overseas. I don't think there was too many scenes that they needed me for, but I guess again, producers, if they can save money using somebody else that doesn't really look like the actor, they're going to do that.
Sure.
So again, I had to do I did my few things. I did a film called Jersey Shore Shark Attack, another sci-fi film with Paul Sorvino.
Mhm.
So I was building up my resume, not just for the stunts, but for the for the acting also, because that's pretty much my goal. And my goal was, to be an actor.
Mhm.
Just like a character actor. I didn't think I was, I'm gonna be big. That's just not me. Um, but learning the process of what it entails, because my motto is, if you either love it or you hate it. You can't just like this business, because you're
Mm.
working 16, 17-hour days.
Sure.
When we were in Thailand, we get one day off. Yeah, I wanted to go sightsee, but I was like so tired, and but it takes a toll on the body, especially the night shoots, because that just messes up your diet completely.
Yeah.
You're so hungry, 3 or 4 in the morning, and then you're eating craft service. But the craft service throughout the years got healthier. Back in the day, there was like candies, popcorn, but these days, I mean, they're more health conscious. Especially with the actors and actresses. A lot of the actors say, let's make sure everybody has this, everybody has that.
Well, you know what's funny, Todd? Like when I was doing the last Kumite movie, that's an homage to Bloodsport, the last Kumite in Germany last year. Um, they didn't have the healthiest options on set. Like there was like pizza and stuff like that. And this was like during the Kumite fights, and in one of my scenes, all I have are these little blue spandex shorts. I'm just like, I can't eat this. You know how it is, because you're in a fitness and working out. Like one bad meal will bloat you. Like you'll look fine hours later the next day, but in that moment you'll look like shit. It's
Oh
like
yeah,
I diet
and
my ass
you
off. I'm not
feel it
eating
too.
pizza right now.
Yeah. Do these
Yeah.
Hispanics make my butt look big? Is that what you're saying?
But yeah, man. So it's cool that they usually, I would assume, have healthier options on a
Yeah.
lot of sets. But I was just eating fruit and
Oh yeah, fruit,
basically.
like carrots and broccoli. Healthy stuff. Now they have like these zero sugar sodas, which I love, because
Sure.
sugar is our enemy.
Yeah.
Sugar is bad for everybody. But the the process of what I went through to start to finish, I consider myself still learning. After 30
Oh,
years.
of
After
course.
30 years,
Yeah, as you should. That's a great mindset. That's that empty cup, white belt mentality. That's how you keep improving. It's when those people kind of start thinking they know everything, is when they're not going anywhere in life at that point.
Oh yeah. You
Yeah.
think you know, but you have no idea. So then I after a Pound of Flesh, I come back to California, and then I started getting more of these sci-fi films. Super Shark, uh, again with the director Fred Olen Ray. It was a military part. I got Sergeant Wilkins. Another, just these little bit parts really mean a lot, because you can use that again on your footage.
Sure.
If you don't have a reel, that they don't know who you are.
Yeah, you don't exist, basically.
And then probably my biggest role to date was a film called The Rideshare Killer with Eric Roberts.
Mhm.
Eric Roberts and Tuesday Night. Tuesday Night was the girl on Elm Street 4. The blonde girl on Elm Street 4?
Okay.
That's Tuesday Night. She's a very talented actress. So that was my biggest role. I play one of the leads in it. I don't want to give it away, but I play the killer. Anyway, so that was probably my biggest role, and it was really cool. I love the dialogue, and there was a scene where at the very end in the script it says my name, and it says OS, off screen. So it was more like my voice off screen. But the director comes in about 30 minutes. I'm in the makeup chair. He goes like, Todd, we're gonna actually shoot this scene. I'm like, you mean the paragraph that's supposed to be off? Yeah. Oh, okay. I had like 20 minutes to memorize the lines, because I actually shot the scene where she's in the bathroom and I'm outside the door, and it goes back and forth. You're only supposed to hear my voice off screen, but it came out good.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
so that was my biggest role to date, and I have other projects coming up. But now we'll get to um, Darkness of Man.
Yeah, this just came out a couple months ago, so you just recently worked with him again, and I
We we
believe they shot
we,
this in LA, right?
we filmed it last year in L.A. We were
Okay.
in um, Silmar, in Van Nuys, all over LA. We
Mhm.
shot, and James Brissac, the director, knew of me, so he knew that I could save the production time and money. So they
Sure.
brought me on. Um, Not a lot of action, but I think in this film it was just enough. Um, and his acting in this, I mean, it's getting pretty good reviews.
Nice.
And I think he's proud of the film because it came out really nice. It's like one of those dark movies with the voiceover.
Sure.
Um, so he and Luke LaFontaine, the coordinator, another great coordinator. I work with so many stunt coordinators that are great. Luke is probably up there with Charlie Pacerni. Again, Charlie Pacerni is the one that was able to give me my SAG card for Maximum Risk when I
Yeah.
was telling you earlier. Um, so then, yeah, we shot that. We had a nice wrap party, a few months after that, and it came out. I'm going to say a few months ago, and it's getting good reviews. I mean, people don't really they underestimate Jean Claude is a really really good actor, um, especially in that JCVD film he did.
JCVD, even Nicolas Cage gave him props and said,
That
"Oh, he's amazing in this."
that monologue. I mean, he's again he's one of those guys that he wants to be prepared. I would always go to the trailer. Okay, Jean Claude, let's go over the lines here, the script, and he's very thorough. He goes, okay, I should do that. I should do it that way. Okay, let's do that. Okay, and then when he's on set, he's focused. Yeah, we have our cracks and jokes and make us laugh, and I think he likes that. It kind of relaxes him because we've bonded so well throughout the years that he's kind of used to having me there, just to help and make sure um, everything goes smooth. And then I have some other projects on my own coming up. Nothing's in is it's written down, but we're still waiting on the finances. And if Jean Claude needs me, he'll he's got my number. But as far as now, I'm just taking everything that I've learned these last 30 years. It's almost like you have to treat it like you're just starting new. Because if even when I enter a set, again, I make sure I go over to meet the craft service people, the wardrobe, the best boy, the grips, just to meet everybody. Again, everybody has a story.
Mhm.
And I love hearing, stories, especially like when they're overseas, different locations. I think for me, Thailand was the most beautiful place to film in Phuket, and then we worked our way up to Bangkok. So it was. I think every guy's got to visit Bangkok. You'll have a good time. Um, but anyway, so then a couple 2 3 days ago, I meet David at the Crow
Oh,
screening,
the Crow premiere. Yeah,
which
I
we
was with Don Wilson. I was hanging out
Don
carpooled with him, Yeah, Dom
that
Dragon
Don
Wilson.
Don is he is another guy that's he's got that aura also that
Sure.
he enters, he's there, and we live a couple 2 3 blocks away, so we're kind of close. But yeah, we I like the Crow. I mean, it worked. Can you replace Brandon Lee? No, but it worked for some reason. The action scenes were really spot on, uh, in my
Oh,
opinion.
for what it is, it was great. I mean, the end with how they cut everything in with the opera, right? I mean, that was crazy, violent, fun, bloody action.
It was. I mean, bloody is an understatement, but I
John
think,
Wilson said it's the most violent film he's ever seen. That's his quote. Yeah.
especially with that sword, man. He went to town with that sword. It was, yeah. I'm glad I got a chance to go there because we never met. It was the first time we met.
Yeah, the first time. It's
And,
funny.
and,
I was taking
and
pictures with Don in front of that poster, and then you came up to me,
I got to give a shout out to Gabe because Gabe is the one that told me, "Hey man, you should get in touch with Dave. The Viking Samurai." So, all right, because I did Gabe's Double Team podcast,
podcast. Yeah.
and Jericho Green. He has his own podcast too. So that's how I got to get David's information, and finally we meet in person, and then hey, we're here.
Now we're doing the
Friends
live.
forever.
Yeah, which is
Friends
great.
forever.
I've been wanting to get you on here for a while, Todd. And thanks so much for sharing the story. Got a couple questions here. So, there's that Van Damme movie that's never been released that they started shooting like in 2008, and then they shot more in
Eagle
2012.
Path.
Eagle Path. Yeah, it's got a lot of
Yeah.
different titles. Did you work on that at all?
No, that was a project that it's been put on. It was shot, put on the shelf for a while, and I think Jean Claude he does want to. Well, from last time I talked to him, he does want to release it, but I guess he's just waiting for the right time. But I've seen it twice, and it's
Okay.
really good. Not a lot of action, but again, the storyline, his acting, his fans are gonna love it. So I guess he's just waiting, to release that.
I've talked to so many people about it, even behind the scenes who've seen it and then said various things. I think most people, it's the curiosity factor at this point being about 15 years still
Yeah,
unreleased of just, it's almost like something that was in a time capsule. And then we see it because Van Damme, of course, is older now, but when he shot that, he was like, what, in his 40s, right? Now
yeah.
he's in his 60s. So
It's
it's
60,
kind
yeah,
of, it'll be kind of cool to see a much younger Van Damme in a
yeah.
quote new movie, right?
Mhm. But he's still in great shape. I mean, he's like a training machine. The last time after we filmed um, Darkness of Man, I went with them to Gold's Gym, and man, he's like a machine. He just loves to do his cardio, and he loves to do light weights, a lot of reps, which is important now because we're getting older. I don't want to get bigger.
Does he
Just try
avoid
to.
injuries? He avoids injuries really well.
Well, yeah, I mean, because he's always stretches almost every day. Like I said,
Yeah.
even when I go swimming, I make
That's
sure I stretch.
admirable because I'm 53 and I have my injuries, repetitive
Yeah,
motion. To hear somebody his age still doing well, but they did it smart. I didn't always
yeah.
do it smart, my training. So yeah.
Well, you
And then
know
that,
what beneficial is training slow. I had this program. Funny enough, I had some of my best gains ever in high school training extremely slow. There's a book called Bigger Muscles in 42 Days from Ellington Darden. And doing that program was the first time ever that I got over 200 pounds. I was like 16 at the time. But the reps, not the sets, the reps literally take you about 30 to 60 seconds to do one rep. So obviously you got to go pretty light because you're contracting that muscle extremely slow where it takes you a minute to do like a curl. But
yeah,
people get crazy gains. One of my friends' uncles exclusively trains with super light weights and looks phenomenal. He was one of the strongest guys for his age and his weight at a certain time. But you're pretty much not going to get injured training that way too. So that's a huge
yeah,
benefit.
yeah. And a lot of guys, want to put as much weight as I can. And
Ego lifting, yeah.
back then,
I
yeah,
guess
that's
all your
20, 30
system is
years ago. But
where you start getting banged up a little bit.
now it's
You know,
just,
you know what you call that at our age? That's called ego injuries. That's all that happens.
Ego lifting,
ego injury about to happen.
Yeah, that's
And
funny.
and also, guys, I after Darkness of Man, I worked again with James Brissac, the director. He did a film called The Workout. It was one of his own projects that he did, and I think it's going to be released soon. I play a strip club owner, like a sleazy strip club owner that really gets the crap beat out of him. But that was the second time I worked with James, and he's a really great director. He's got a nice close knit crew, and I think we're going to do something, in the future again. But yeah, after the rideshare killer, it's called The Workout. With
Okay.
Peter J was also in Darkness of Man. He played the head Korean guy. So it's cool because you get to work with all these all these actors and actresses on different films, different characters, and you see what they bring to the table. Different
Oh, for sure.
different auras of their personality. So it's cool.
Yeah, here's a question. One of the guys in the audience has, what was your favorite film that you did with Van Damme?
Well, I'm gonna go back to the very first one because it was my first experience of being on set, sudden death. But
Yeah.
right up there with it is Maximum Risk, because again, that's when I got my first stunt. I joined the union. Um, there's so many great films; those two stand out. And then, of course, I really like the way Darkness of Man came out too.
Mhm.
But for my favorite, I'm gonna have to probably say the first one because you can't beat that first experience being on set. And again, I'll go back to it because I'm a big Steelers fan. I don't know if you can tell. We were shooting a scene at the Three Rivers Stadium. We were supposed to be in the Civic Arena, but for some reason that wasn't available. And we shot the locker room scene at Three Rivers Stadium. And it was a Saturday night. And the Steelers were on the field uh, practicing for a Monday night game. So in between takes, I would ask them, "Okay, can I just walk out to the field?" I walk up to the field, and I see, Coach Cower, Greg Lloyd, Yancey Dickman, Rod Woodson. I was Barry Foster. I was in heaven. Um, so that was another memorable moment. Being in Pittsburgh. It's a beautiful city.
Yeah, for sure. That movie still holds up really well, by the way. Sudden Death, of course. A lot of movies after, well, I guess after Die Hard, but then Under Siege really blew up, and
Yeah.
Van Damme, of course, had to have his terrorist film. So Sudden Death was a lot of fun. It still holds up amazingly well. Much, much, much better than that pseudo sequel reboot follow up they did with Michael Jai White, Welcome to Sudden Death. I was
Uh,
really looking forward to that. And then when I watched, I was extremely disappointed because I'm kind of thinking of remembering the original one, and
right.
Michael Jai White, we know, can do great work. And then this
Yeah.
movie comes out and
It
it's
was.
just, disappointing.
Oh, there's a question.
Oh,
Ravindu.
yeah. Ravindu's asking, Todd, will you be open for Asian movie roles, like in a
But
different language?
but of course.
Maybe he wants to hire you for some Indian production.
Yeah.
Oh, and if you guys want to reach Todd, his Instagram is posted in the video description of this. You can reach out to him. Make sure to follow him. We all want followers on Instagram.
Hey.
I got to ask you about going back to Double Team and Knockoff. When the movies came out, I watched them in the theater, of course. I enjoyed them for what they were, a little bit different. Had that Hong Kong style, of course, something different. But I was reading articles, and at the time, I didn't want to acknowledge that it was factual. But watching the movies now, I could see the different guys doing a lot of the fighting. That's not Van Damme. It looks now. I wanted to ask if you did any of those because it looked like if you go frame by frame, it looks like they used a lot of Asian guys to double Van Damme for the actual some of the fight scenes in
You
those
talk
movies.
about Double Team?
Both of them, Double Team and Knockoff. Double Team, for example, when he's fighting Mickey Rourke and he jumps and
Yeah.
does that double sidekick, it looks like some Asian dude.
Yeah. There was some of Samo's guys on the set, and they did use them for specific scenes. I believe those were I was on either first unit or I don't know what I was doing. But yeah, they brought in some guys just to do some certain moves and double team and then knock off.
Like in the
That dou-
parking garage scene, it didn't look like it was Van Damme doing all the fight.
in the parking lot, it was me and Alex Kuzelicki, Australian stunt guy, would do some of those moves, and then I would run up there was a pillar,
Yeah, that was
and I would run up the pillar. But yeah, there was Alex and me on that double team. There was a few doubles on that. There was Rex Reddick. There was Garrett Warren. Um, so yeah, there's a few guys on those movies that they use besides me and Alex.
Yeah, because like I said, I was reading that magazine and I was in denial. I was like, "There's no way Van Damme, of course, does all his fight scenes, you know." But then you watch the film; it's pretty noticeable.
But
It's
he
not
does.
all.
He does. He still wants to. I can do it. I can do it. I can do it. So he's let him do it.
Yeah, he's more than capable.
How
Sure.
is his knees? Is his knees still good? Does he have any
Yeah.
comfort?
As far as the last time I've seen him, he's still
Yeah.
he does his stretching and
Yeah.
certain exercises to strengthen the knees and the hips. So yeah, he's
We had somebody on, what's his name? Korean guy, and he said his hips.
Oh,
He can't
Simon
really,
Ree.
yeah,
Yeah,
he
the
can't really
legend
kick
Simon
anymore.
Ree. Oh, he doesn't kick above waist height.
Yeah, he says his
And
hips can't handle it.
yeah, he was one of the greatest on-screen kickers ever. I forget which magazine. Is either Black Belt magazine or another magazine said that. And if you just watch the original Best of the Best, you'll see it on screen too. He's very amazing kicker, but yeah, he's injured. Well, he's got injuries now. He does a
yeah.
lot of stunt work too. He actually worked on the original Universal Soldier and I'm sure other
Oh,
Van Damme movies as well. But
okay, yeah. And Mark on the original American Universal Soldier, Mark Stefanich was Jean Claude's double on that one.
yeah, on that one.
The
Okay.
ex Navy SEAL, the guy that
Yeah,
pulled me
no,
over. Hey,
are you do you guys know each other? Like are you guys friends or not?
Mark.
Yeah.
Yeah, we I'm going to say maybe 10 years ago, I met him at Calabasas at the Sagebrush Cantina, and we just started talking. Hey, remember that time? Remember that time? So he knows, he knows I would never do that to him because he's been doing it so long, and
Sure.
it's like again, it's just a sensitive, subject. You don't want to take away somebody else's work, so that's that. But he's
Yeah,
really
yeah. I
cool.
mean, if he butted heads with the producer, that's a whole other thing that has nothing to do with you, obviously. Here's a good question from Antonio. He says, as a graduate of Penn State and Bloomsburg University with a degree in education, how does your academic background inform your work in film, particularly in crafting characters?
Hmm. Well, again, I used to be a teacher. I taught third grade and sixth graders, um, and I've learned that you have to have a lot of patience, especially with kids. But once you get a script, I mean, you've got to put your mindset into what the character is asking for. If it's a very dark, serious scene,
Mhm.
and I've taken acting classes, so it's just a matter of creating that character that works for the film, and it especially works for the director. Because if the director doesn't like it, he's gonna say, "Try it this way." So you know that's what I can say about that.
Okay. Here's another cool question. You've worked on both blockbuster films and indie projects. What differences do you notice in the creative processes between these two worlds?
I mean, every film to me is the same because you're there to do one specific job to act. The difference is, big budgets have more cameras, cranes, better craft service,
Yeah.
different atmosphere. But for me, it's all the same. If I worked like on The Rideshare Killer, it was a really small crew. I'll compare that to Sudden Death or Maximum Risk because you're there to do a job. You do the act and to make the fans appreciate your work, and especially the director to give you that thumbs up. So it's all the same to me.
Okay. Here's a question though we haven't discussed yet, because we talked about, well, everybody noticed, and that's how you got the work. as far as you looking like Van Damme. And then coincidentally enough, you can actually move and perform and do the splits and do the kicks and everything. Like what's your martial arts background? Like when did you start training?
Back in, I was in Scranton, Pennsylvania. I studied Tang Soo Do with Al Caponegro. And then after that, I started doing the movies. So I would just train on set. And then I was fortunate again to meet Samo.
Mm-hmm.
And then he would show me some moves and this and that. So it kind of, with my military background, my acting background, everything just came together. And it, you know, I guess my work speaks for itself, you know. So it's just, it's nice to have that athletic background because growing up, I was always, me and my older brother Mark were always involved in football, baseball, basketball, tennis, bowling, golf. And then my younger brother was more into golf, not so much into football. So Mark and I, growing up, it was always that competitive nature, you know, older brother, you know, younger brother. So we would always we would be involved in like the punt, passing, kick contests. I don't know if you ever heard of those. With football, you know, you punt it and then you'd kick it and you throw it. So we would always, my mom and dad would always get us involved in those sports. We'd always have bowling on Saturdays. My mom and dad were always at our football games. Before games, we would have a steak, you know, just for the protein, the creatine,
Mm-hmm.
you know, to get us going. So we had, in my, and all I can say is that I've got the best of both worlds because my dad and his brothers, my uncles, were really good athletes. My mom, here's a story. I think Dave, you're gonna like because you have your fight coming up. My mom's dad in the 30s and 40s was a professional boxer in New York, and he was also a cab driver. I've told this story a few times, so I might as well tell you guys.
Mm-hmm.
So one day he was he had a boxing match coming up, and so he picked up his passenger, cab driver, picked up his passenger. And I think before that, he told my grandmother, his wife, "Okay, honey, I'm gonna do one more pickup, and I'll be home because I gotta get ready." So he picks up the passenger, drives a couple blocks, and he parks, and then boom, gets shot in the back of the head. Apparently, he wouldn't take a dive, and you know how that is back then. You know,
Yeah, sure.
if somebody says take a dive, you don't take a dive. And so that was, and I never got a chance to meet him. And if I did, I'm sure he would have me at the boxing. Um, but it was his name was Angelo Babe Cali, and when I heard that, it was like I still get chills, you know, saying telling the story.
What city was he out of? Was he
Wow.
out of Philly?
It was
Did
in
he,
happened in New York.
oh, New
It was,
York. But where did he
yeah,
train? Because was he in Philadelphia? Is that
I believe it was like Scranton, New York, Scranton, New York. So I mean, it was
okay?
Pennsylvania, New York, Pennsylvania,
Okay.
New York. So it was a story that really, like, you know, whoa, you know, that is crazy, how it was back then. I'm sure it's
Yeah,
like that
that's
now,
tragic.
but it was weird. But yeah,
Huh.
uh,
Okay. Yeah, sorry to hear that. Speaking of golf, Brian is actually an ex golf pro.
oh hey,
Uh,
Yeah,
uh,
nice.
it's his
yeah,
game.
did that for many years. Yeah, you into
I,
golf big time
I
at
heard
all?
I heard you putt from the rough.
You know what, man?
No,
Sometimes
I'm more occasional. I'll go to driving ranges, you know, mini golf, but I've never done 18 holes. I can do 9 because I don't have 8 hours to be on the golf course. I'll do like 9 holes and I'm done. I don't know how you guys do 18 holes. It's
A
I don't
long
know
day.
either anymore, man. I'm getting older, but yeah, I got my channel up now, the Eagle Quest. When I used to
ah,
teach golf way back, it was I started it up again. So anybody wants to go over and see me give a golf lessons on, they go there.
Oh,
But I
you're
say I'm
giving
not a
golf.
professional.
Oh, you're on
Yeah, but I
3
tell everybody I'm
channels
not a
now.
professional anymore.
geez.
What's that?
Well, you were on 4. Okay, so Brian's everywhere. Obviously, he's on my channel a lot as the co-host, and then I know he's got his Ukraine channel, And so you got your golf one back up. I know you were doing a lot of boxing stuff. You were doing stuff with Tim for a while. Well, actually, I think you're helping his son now, Tim Jr. So you're
you're
literally
gonna see me
all
on
over
that
the internet, man, in just such like different spaces: action martial arts films, boxing, golf, Ukrainian technology.
I'm gonna follow you now.
Yeah, he's an interesting character.
Yeah, well, the Technology United for Ukraine I do with a Navy SEAL. So that's really cool.
Yeah,
well,
Navy
cool.
SEAL. Yeah,
nice.
It's like Van Damme's other devil, the Navy SEAL.
Well, one of my biggest accomplishments in the military was I got the physical fitness patch. The Army does 2 minutes push-ups, 2 minutes sit-ups, and then you run the 2 mile.
2 miles.
So I did 124 push-ups in 2 minutes,
Wow.
85 sit-ups, and then I ran the 2 mile in 12:34, I believe.
God bless you, man. You're super soldier.
That's insane.
It's a patch. It's a patch that you don't see a lot. So it was one of the biggest accomplishments I had in my career.
Oh, for sure. Hey, the Army push-up test, so you have 2 minutes to do as many as you can. Can you rest at all during the 2 minutes, or does it have to? So you could rest a little.
You can rest. You can
Yeah, put your butt up in the air. You can put your butt up.
You put the butt up to rest. You just can't.
Oh, but
I know. 12
be in
years.
that push-up position when you're okay.
Right.
Yeah, it's crazy. Wow.
I think push-ups is probably the best workout you can do because it works everything. Your whole core.
You know what's funny,
shoulders.
Todd? You'll appreciate this. No, it is a great workout. Core, shoulders, chest. I had in middle school the push-up record for the school, 120. It wasn't time, but you couldn't. You could rest in the push-up position, of course, but it had to be one quote set, So I did have that and the pull-up record as well. But so I was just 4 behind you in the Army, 4 push-ups behind.
How many pull-ups?
For the record, at 28.
Yo. Wow.
I feel inferior. These are two super.
How old were you when you did that 28?
Oh, like 14.
Yo.
Yeah, I had the push-up and the pull-up back in middle school, 9th grade.
Do you like pull-ups or you like chin-ups?
Oh, they had to be actual pull-ups,
Pull-ups.
Yeah, which are obviously harder.
Do you like chin-ups or pull-ups? Does it matter to you?
It depends. If I want to put more of the concentration on my biceps, I do chin-ups.
Biceps. Yeah, the biceps.
Yeah. But in general, when I'm working out my back, I like pull-ups. I like to even do them a little bit wider.
Oh yeah, get that stretch.
Definitely.
Oh yeah, it's a good workout.
Yeah, we got to work out sometime together. If you're just in Woodland Hills, by the way,
we got it, man. We'll set up a date.
Where are you located now?
I'm in Woodland Hills.
Where is that?
Oh, California, Woodland Hills, California.
Oh, because I'm here in Philly, so I didn't know.
Oh, Philly.
Yeah.
Well, I'm from Pennsylvania. You know Scranton. So yeah.
Yeah, beautiful area, Scranton.
Now, are you Eagles fan?
I'm from Rhode Island originally, but I don't really get into all that stuff.
Who's your team?
I don't care about that stuff at all.
I was going to say, if you say the Patriots, this
interview's over. Bro, I've seen people get into fistfights over Boston Red Sox versus the New York. Oh, forget it. I didn't want to.
Well, that's one of the best rivalries, the Yankees and Red Sox.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Who's your team? You follow NFL? Yeah.
No, I'm not really into those more mainstream sports so much. There was a time where I was when I was going to Sac State, I was a huge Sacramento Kings basketball fan. And that was when we had everybody, Mike Bibby, Chris Penn, everybody, and that was when they had the huge rivalry for the Western Conference Finals, against the Lakers. I was always going for the Kings. That's when I was emotionally invested, I was really into it. That was exciting, at least.
But nowadays, you're not really into it?
Nah, not nowadays, not so much into it.
I watch the NBA Finals. That's exciting, but to watch a game is kind of, it's kind of boring.
It's during the regular season, sure, yeah.
Same thing with baseball. I played baseball, up until college, but come play World Series, I'll tune into it. But when football season, Sundays, turn the TV on at 10 a.m. all the way to Sunday Night Football. That's just Sundays.
That's funny. Yeah. All right, man. Well, We're about an hour and 20 minutes in here, and
Was that a record?
well,
Did we set a record?
about an
They
hour,
held
you know?
almost 60 people.
Yeah. I mean, and there'll be a lot more, especially when I
Oh,
cut
yeah.
this video up later in different segments. But Todd, it's been a pleasure. I love hearing your story. When we meet up again in person, by the way, I want to ask you a couple of things that we probably may not want to obviously put in videos.
You mean you want your free beer, right?
Yeah.
Brian, too, yeah. I'll ship it to you.
Yeah, Brian, you'll ship it.
I'll ship you a Rolling Rock.
I'll drink anything, brother.
That's funny.
Yeah. So, guys, audience, thanks so much for joining us, and make sure follow Todd on Instagram. His link is in the video description of this. Follow me and Brian too. We also have interesting lives.
Follow the Three Stooges.
Like to think so, but anyway, again, Todd, thanks so much for joining.
Thank you, thank you, David, Brian, and David. Best of luck to you next month.
Thanks,
stay focused, and stick and move.
Yeah, definitely do a lot of that. All right, thanks, Todd.
All right, guys, thank you. Appreciate it.